How to be lucid during your waking life. In other words, we've talked about lucid dreaming before, and now we're talking about lucid waking. So let's just go back to basics. What is dreaming? Nightly dreams are when your body is fully at rest, your mind is suspended and no longer functioning for functional reasons. It's not dodging traffic. It's not trying to cross the street. It's not looking for food. It's not in survival mode. So it's completely at rest, your body and your mind. When this physical mechanism, this vessel is at rest, you enter a dream world, which is again your consciousness, everywhere, everything, everyone, all at once. In that dream, if you happen to become conscious and aware and say, hey, wait a second, that body that I have is currently resting in bed. I'm in the middle of a nightly dream. That recognition is the beginning of lucid dreaming. Once you recognize, it's important to understand how lucid dreaming works. You don't just go ahead and control all circumstances. You understand what's going on. There have been accounts where people like Neville Goddard have explained about them actually visiting the dream worlds in physicality. I personally haven't, and not a lot of people talk about it, and it's not necessary. The key is to understand who you are while you are dreaming at night. So you think that you are the body who's asleep and resting, and this dream is taking place where you are awake and you are participating in the dream. One of the key things about lucid dreaming, if you look up any lucid dreaming videos, is to have a point of view perspective. In other words, say you were wearing an avatar suit, you would stick out your two hands, like the two palms of your hands, and flip them in and out and look at your hands. That's a recognition that now you, the dreamer, are lucid and awake and aware in this dream that's going to take place. So whatever the scenario is, wherever the dream is happening, you are free to move about, interact, do things, do whatever you like. And this is a real practice, and it's very enjoyable if you are able to do it. If you are not able to get into the awake and aware mode right off the bat, just do this before you go to sleep. Before you go to sleep, tell yourself that I'm going to become awake and aware in my nightly dreams tonight. I'm going to be the point of view avatar who is in control of my dream. So in that dream, any incidents or circumstances that take place are up to you in how they turn out. For example, I have myself become lucid during my nightly dream, where a certain dramatic circumstance took place, but I was immediately able to recognize that I'm the one in control and this is my dream. Therefore, I get to see to how the story ends, and I flipped the story. By flipping the story, it literally felt like a decision. There was not much that happened, not much that took place. It was just a recognition and a decision that flipped the circumstances to the circumstances I wanted them to be. And that was that. It was very dull and boring, to be honest. Nothing spectacular. So that is the practice of lucid dreaming. It's been done for ages. You can look up videos or books, but I highly suggest to look at authentic books rather than haphazard TikToks or shorts or videos by uncredible or unregulated people and persons, because they will just send you astray and you'll be confused and lost. Anyways, that's lucid dreaming. It's a real practice and it's very enjoyable if you can understand it. That's all there is to it. So if you understand lucid dreaming of your nightly dreams, you can understand how to be lucid in your waking life. A lot of people go into doing drugs or mushrooms or psychedelics or even just getting high off something mild. Whatever it is, I will never suggest that you do that because it's not necessary. But if you want to, it's all up to you, as long as you are in control and you know how to deal with any consequences therefore. So I will leave it at that. But you don't need any kind of ayahuasca or ceremonies or anything of that sort. You can, but again, that's a whole different thing. It is not necessary to be lucid. In order to be lucid, you have to kind of blur and suspend your hyper-aware, hyper-awake state of mind that you function at daily. So say, for example, you take out your car, you drive through traffic, you pick up your morning coffee, you get to work, you deal with all sorts of things happening at work, messages, emails, problems. You are in a hyper-awake and hyper-aware state. That state will not help you be lucid during waking life. Absolutely not. One of the reasons you'll find a lot of people who practice lucid waking or are trying to change their lives or manifesting things overnight, they'll stay away from careers or paths that are redundantly stressful or don't give them the capacity to suspend their mind or their logic for extended amounts of time. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to quit your profession or stop studying. No. But what it does mean is you're going to understand your true nature, and ultimately you'll be guided to what works for you. So that's a completely different topic about what profession or careers and stuff you can choose. You'll find a lot of actors, artists, musicians. They are successful and they believe that is how everything works, and their success comes through their art and music. It's also because they are able to understand the game and how reality functions. Okay? They are able to grasp who and what they are to a greater extent than a lot of other people who are complaining about their day jobs and their mundane lives and nothing going their way and the shortage of money and the increase of bills and problems and so on and so forth. Now, this is a society we are conditioned in. Not all of it is your fault, so don't take the blame, but understand the game. Lucid waking going back to lucid dreaming is the recognition and the decision and sticking to the new decision, the new story. That's all it is. It's a very subtle thing. Nothing spectacular happens. The walls around your building won't morph into Hogwarts in a second like they show on TV. And that's the problem with TV. The CGIs and the graphics, it just messes with your mind and brain, making you think that shifts and reality changes must be dramatic and spectacular and supernatural, when in true nature it really is, but that's not how supernatural works. And we as humans have perverted this idea of change and magic into cinematic graphics, and everything else looks like fiction and false, so your imagine looks dull, more duller than the CGI effects of the Harry Potter movie. And no wonder you can never enjoy the world of your dreams, but rather you live in a world where dreams are made on TV and your bills keep coming and nothing works your way. Okay, so getting past all of that is up to you about what you consume. It's okay to not consume popular media or social media, because there are people who actually don't. It's okay to not watch movies with CGI and effects. I don't personally like them. It's okay to make up your own beliefs and truths and assumptions about the world. So if you find yourself going against the norm, you're more than okay. Billionaires, trillionaires, and so-called successful people in their field, uber successful, super successful, you have no idea what their habits are. But they do have habits that are against the norm. Very few of them follow the normal mindset or discipline. Extremely successful people do what serves them. Just because they own all the media channels and they're billionaires doesn't mean they consume a single minute of television. Doesn't mean that they eat burgers and fries from their chain of restaurants. Once you understand that, you'll understand that you are made to be a consumer, but never to be a free, genuine, unique thinker. Because if you were, you'd be a billionaire too. Okay, so lucid waking is simply that, the recognition and then your decision and sticking with that story and identity. No matter what appearances or circumstances flash in your face. Because remember, during a nightly dream, a lot of characters and things appear. But you, as the dreamer of the nightly dream, you're not worried, because you know they are simply appearances that can be changed to your favor. For example, during my lucid dream at night, where I mentioned changing the circumstances, the event did take place in the way that I didn't like. But by the time it was completing its route, in other words, it was taking place and going towards the ill-fated or ill-destined direction, I was able to gather up my senses, think of an alternate direction for the dream, and then boom, that was the result. Suddenly and abruptly, it took a different turn. Similarly, that is how the waking dream works. You don't have to make abrupt things happen, it'll just happen. That is why it's stressed not to worry about the how, the why, the when, the what. Just worry about your story. You, the person, the identity, the awareness, the version, the frequency, the vibration, which again is made up of what? Your assumptions, your truths, your beliefs, your made-up beliefs if you have to. Nobody cares. Nobody needs to know. For example, if you believe that you have Superman powers, as in nothing can touch you, or say you have the healing abilities of a fictional character called Wolverine, then you won't get sick that often. Any injury will heal before it can even show itself. Things like that. But those are your beliefs to carry every day. That is why we talk about the daily bread in the Bible. The daily bread is nothing but your daily awareness, because you are new in every moment. You're changing bodies. You have a new body in every moment. You're in a new multiverse in every moment. Yesterday no longer exists. If you are new in every moment, you better fill up your head with your assumptions, because that's going to predict your going forward. It's going to coalesce the objectified world experience of your desire. You are a moment-to-moment being. There's only now. Now is the only ever moment you will ever have. Once now passes, it becomes a past which no longer exists. And tomorrow never comes. So there is no past, there is no future, there is only now. And in the now moment is where you strike gold. Every time. You're cooking and your brain is thinking about bad scenarios and having doubts. Fine, let them pass. Don't identify with them. Hop back on the wagon of your awareness of choice, your beliefs, and say, no, well, this is me. Doubts, thoughts, feelings, memories, past events, situations can flash like a movie in your brain. You can hear the voices, you can hear the screams, you can hear the shouts, you can feel the tears. Doesn't matter. That's just a function of a physical bodily brain. Your brain doesn't know anything until you tell it what is true. Emotions, tears, memories are just its functions. It has to have some function to it in order to survive and work in this three-dimensional realm. So cut it some slack and treat it as a car. Because that's what it is. It's a vessel. It's a vehicle. A car can only do so many things until it's just not going to be able to do some other things, no matter how advanced or electric or, I don't know, brand new it is. So it's only made to function one way, or a certain way, and then it can't function beyond that, right? Same with your brain and body. It's only made to function and behave in a certain way. What you are doing is you are selecting a world that's beyond restrictions of your current situation, your current three-dimensional results or circumstances that you're facing. Whether your brain and body reject that or don't go along, it doesn't matter. You are to completely bypass the vessel and remain lucid. That is why the words delusional, crazy, insane, madness, whoever, whatever you want to call it, is absolutely okay. If you are going to stay with reasoning and logic, you are not going to manifest the life of your wildest dreams. You are going to manifest within those walls of logic and reasoning. And whatever you can will manifest, and anything outside of that won't, because those are your filters. Do what you have to do in the real world, so to speak, in the circumstantial present. Whether that means signing documents, going to legal meetings, paying your bills, working jobs, whatever. It won't matter, because once it becomes the past, it's up to you to change it. Because remember, once a moment has passed, it no longer exists. The only way it can exist is in a form of a mental image, which you call memory. But then you have jurisdiction over all that memory, and you can make it whatever the heck you want. So staying lucid during the waking dream is all up to you. A lot of people listen to beta waves or theta waves. I'm not sure which one, but I've heard the beta waves are good. Either ways, you'll find your mix. You'll find maybe a certain song or certain movies do the trick for you. Watch those. Do you know that I repeat and watch black and white classic movies that have absolutely zero CGIs, and I sometimes repeat the same movie over and over again, but it comes off a little bit different every time. The movies that I do watch that are made in the recent years, if I really like them, I'll watch them again. And guess what? Every time it's slightly different. I notice things and scenes that absolutely were not there before. That's when you understand how the stream works, because every time you recall a memory, every time you rewatch something, it's slightly different. Why? Because these are versions. Nothing is ever exactly the same as it were the previous moment before. Because only now exists. Once you understand the fun of things, you're going to feel lighter, and you're going to feel less worried and less sad and frustrated. So understand how lucid this waking world is. And it is up to you to take a hold of the dreamer, which is your I am, your awareness. With your awareness filter, the mix of beliefs, assumptions, your truths, you collapse other possibilities in order to only objectify the possibilities of your choice. Remember, we live in versions. The you a moment ago who was listening to this video from the beginning no longer exists. The you that is listening to this moment in the video is a new version of you. Once you get to understand that, you'll know this new version of you is a completely, totally whole and new physical body in a new physical world altogether. Whether they look alike or not from the previous one is unrelated. That's parallel worlds, that's parallel realities for you. That's shifting. So you're doing this anyways, but now you're going to do this in an intentional and a larger, so to speak, scale, in a way where you get to play around with the circumstances, the consequences, the outcomes, etc. It is actually a game. It's not that you can look at it as a game, it really just is. It's a game, it's a cosmic dance, whatever you want to call it, but that is what it is. Again, your true nature is I am pure consciousness, a multi-dimensional entity percolating through higher dimensions, dreaming and falling asleep and dreaming within the third dimension that we call 3D. And then waking up and becoming aware of itself through your singular physical focused vessel, who then gathers up awarenesses, identities, versions, and shifts through the dream world, which is the multiverse, or versions, or whatever you want to call it. So again, your nightly dream, the dreamer that is dreaming the nightly dream, and the I am who is dreaming this solid waking life dream, is the same concept. That is why we were given the gift of nightly dreams in order to practice and understand the waking dream. The answers were given to us. The answers are in front of us. If you have any questions, feel free to leave your comments and questions below. I'll try and answer them as much as I can, and I will talk to you in the next video.